All right. It is Tuesday. We are live. We are on time. What is going on? Crazy. Absolutely crazy. And I kind of cleaned up my paint cut. Sort of. I had a few minutes extra today, so. Alright, so let's get our black paint portioned out here. Or try to. This is the old stuff that's kind of glumpy, so I've got like a glumpy nugget right here that's trying to demand that it comes out first. I'm okay with wasting a little now because I know I'll have enough to finish it. Alright. So, we're just gonna get started here. Hope everybody's weekend finished out okay. And that your day is going well. Hopefully it is. I was so looking forward to working on this yesterday. And then I started to get a headache last night. I was like, oh no. I'm supposed to have some really shitty weather coming in tomorrow. Just nasty. They've got us... We're actually under a winter storm warning. And an extreme cold warning. Like, excuse me? We had tried to make a very improvised cat house for the outside cats. We spent money that we shouldn't have on a bale of straw. And we went and got a cardboard box from Lowe's because their moving boxes are pretty sturdy. And I didn't really have the money to throw at a plastic container when we tried that before without the straw and they wouldn't go in it. We weren't sure if it was because there was only one exit, so we made 2 exits. On this one, we've got straw in there now, and that's about all we can do. Like, we can make the thing, but we can't make them go in it, you know? We tried. That's all we can do. It's up to the catos now. We can't bring them in because of our other lovely cats. they're not gonna be okay with that. They've tried to get these cats through the window. Peanut has tried to throw himself through the window, the glass window, the closed glass window, a couple of times to try to get them. So their presence in the house is not exactly wanted by the other cats. And we can't really try to live trap them because they're not going to fall for that. And we can't just like physically hand them over to animal control because they take off whenever somebody they don't know comes running up. It would have to be a traumatizing live trap situation. And I don't know that they would even fall for it. The one most likely wouldn't. She is so nervous about everything. Brush is going much quicker. Though I am going to have to switch to the smaller brush here in just a minute. Okay. So I have to carefully work my way around some of these because of how close their neighbor is, but at least with this brush, it actually glides around the corners. Instead of awkwardly scrapes around the corners like that one brush was doing. Really not a fan of that brush. Like, it's okay for straight lines, but if I need to curve the line, that brush does not want to give very well. Kind of been looking at some of the brushes on Temu because I can get a couple different small sets of fine brushes for the price of of one set on Amazon. I just don't know if they're gonna shed, and if they're gonna shed, that's gonna be a problem. So I'm not sure what I want to do about that. Can't do anything about that for a while, though. My next expense that I am saving up for is actually like a $25 body pillow. That I need to shove between me and the wall so I stop falling in between the mattress and the wall. Like, we need to replace our mattress, but that's not happening anytime soon. Um, life is trying to go sideways. It's tilting at the moment. And we're trying to fix it. Or at least find a solution to re-rate it. Okay. Let's come back down this way. Okay. So, what's everybody up to today? You guys doing good? Hopefully you're having a good day wherever you are. Still pretty cold here. It's gotten up to 35 so far, Fahrenheit. Still pretty cold though. It was 62 Fahrenheit in our room when we woke up this morning. I was like, oh. We had closed the curtain that goes across our doorway though to try to keep the humidity in from our humidifier though. So kind of our own fault for that, but it wouldn't have been much warmer. to be perfectly honest. We're a little concerned about the extreme cold warning we're under. We don't get those very often. We tried to get some pipe insulation for our drain pipe that comes from our kitchen. They had to do a workaround when they were replacing the sewer line. And it was the best solution they could come up with, but that also means the pipe draining our kitchen sink is exposed to the outside air. It did freeze once. Can't remember if that was last year or not. We had to stack hay bales around it. But we had to put like cardboard and make a little alcove around it and put a space heater out there for a little while to slowly unfreeze it because it was PVC without it cracking. I mean, at least the pipes themselves didn't freeze. That would have been worse. But we couldn't find any pipe insulation that would fit that pipe. And we're like, oh, that's not good. So we took some bubble wrap and tried to wrap it around the outside of it. Not the greatest solution, but it's something, I guess. We're gonna need to do a maintenance rinse here soon. Or at least I probably should. Yeah, let's go and do that. I probably put too much water in here. That's all right. It'll be okay. All right. So I'm going to turn this guy. Stops getting caught on everything. Just doing a little A bit of touching up on the edge here as we are coming across it. Alrighty. So I still have to be a little bit careful here because we're still pretty close to everybody here. Can't go too carefree here. Not quite sure where I got black paint on my fingers from. It's a little bit interesting. Unless it was when I was trying to get the paint out of the bottle. That could be. Now I know this has been one of our longer projects here. Oh, there's going to be sirens going by. Earbud warning. Oh, that sounds like a fire truck. Probably the large fire rescue and an ambulance. Oh, that might have just been a straight up fire truck. Hmm.
That one was a fire truck.
That one was a straight up fire truck. There was only one, which was odd. Either the rest of the members haven't made it to the firehouse yet, or maybe it's mutual aid and they only needed one. Alright, so we have to be very careful here that my hand doesn't decide to zigzag. It's a little shaky today. So that's a possibility. Alright. I probably shouldn't turn the corner too much there just yet, since my hand's still kind of hanging out in there. But we're not doing too bad, time-wise, all things considered. Though if I had been working on this straight, we probably would have long since started our pen work. But I've only been working on this during these live streams. So I'm not really on a time deadline with this guy. Okay. We're slowly chipping away. Ever so slowly. Will we actually get done the black painting portion today? I don't know. I really don't. Kind of depends on how much the paint decides to fight me. At any one point here. Okay. Trying to make sure that stays rounded. Or as rounded as I can get it. Alright. So once we're done with these larger bits here, I'm going to need to switch our brush again. We're going to go back to the blue handled one. Now some of the black looks a little splotchy to my eyes in certain spots. But that might just be this paint. But I've tried to go over some of those splotchy parts a couple of times. And it's retaining its splotchy look. So I think it has something to do with either the graphite smudges that are still kind of there underneath, or something happened when I was redoing our pencil lines and I had to erase some of it. So at first I was thinking it was the brush, which is one of the reasons why I was trying to find a different brush. But that issue is persisting. So I probably should have just used the kneaded eraser over it. I didn't want to lose my shapes. Like that was definitely not something I wanted to do. But it might come to life a bit more once I go to seal this guy. But I'm going to have to do a spray sealer on this one. So I'm going to have to seal it off stream once it warms up enough to do so. Because right now it is much too cold. Much, much too cold. These guys are so tight in here. Okay. Like we can stretch our bristles out here on this one edge. Just to try to see if we can get some of that extra paint that's just sitting in there. Chance to get pulled out by the canvas. Carefully. Because I got a little scarily close to the edge of our pink there a second ago. I was like, oh, easy now. Let's not be getting too wild. That's not good. You don't want to get too crazy. Alright, let's do another maintenance rinse here. And if you get water on your barrel, just make sure that you have dried that pretty good. Because you really don't want any beads of water rolling down your ferrule. And landing in the middle of this. Especially with the black paint, that is going to be quite the headache to fix. You'd be able to fix it, but you'd have to come back and gently soak up that watery area with a tissue or something, or a paper towel. Don't rub, just kind of let it sit on there and absorb it, and then once that dries, you'd probably have to find your tile color, or whatever color it is that got ruined, and repaint it to fix the damage. So fixable, yeah. And even if it is easy to fix, it would still be a pain to have to come back and fix it at this stage. All right. It's tough to move quickly and carefully for me. See, my hand just squiggled there. That's probably okay. It didn't dip into that too much. But we're getting there. We're almost done with these. Oh, I didn't see that section. We're almost done with this section of these background tiles. And then we've got one more. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to do that last section with this brush, though. That might be a little intense. To be perfectly honest. Okay. So let's get this guy. As carefully as we can. Some of the paint I have left in this cup guy is a little bit thick. It's still usable, but it is being a little bit more build-up-y on our brush. I really don't want to add any water to this at this point, because then I think it's going to change the shade. It's going to be a little bit thinner. And yes, it might make it a little bit easier, but I don't know if, I think it'll be definitely noticeable at this point between like what's left and what's already been done. So we're just gonna have to kind of cope with how it's behaving. As long as it doesn't get real glompy, where we're pulling the glomps out of the cup. And like dropping them. Right, so I'm just kind of pulling off some of the buildup in that section. Because we can. We had the ability to there. Now I'm still not sure if we're only doing the dragonfly with the pen. I'm not sure how it's going to look with just that. Kind of depends here. Now, if you don't want to do the white pen work, you don't have to. That is entirely gonna be up to you. I mean, you could have also opted to go with a different background color as well. Could have gone with a tan or a gray, or left it white and outlined everything in black. That is also an option. That was my Kindle. I did not know I had the notifications turned up that loud. Plus, it's sitting right next to my microphone, so sorry about that. Sorry. Allergy eyes. Are icky eyes. Okay. So I just kind of needed to clean that up just a little bit. My hand got a little carried away there. It happens. My hand's actually done fairly well on this piece. I'm pretty happy that I haven't had any, well, not too many incidents of my hand just kind of wobbling and jerking into a different direction. I have had that happen before. I'm like, no. And then having to go back and fix it is not a fun time. So I am going to need to get this edge here. At some point, or at least part of it. Now this paint is a bit thin. And I can kind of see where it looks a little thin in spots as I'm putting it down on this edge, just the way the light is hitting it. So I'm just kind of hoping that where I can fix it, I manage to. And in other spots, it's not so bad when we go to seal this guy. Okay. We're getting there. My brain is like, let's just get to the pen part already. I'm like, no. It doesn't work like that. We have to finish this. Now, I don't know what we're doing after this one yet. Like I was saying before, we might pop out the stencils. And see what we can take some inspiration of. Because we've got all kinds of canvas. And bits of wood and things that we can do stuff with. So we'll see how it goes. Okay. Let's get this last bit for this section. All right. So I think I might do the side of this now. At least up to there. I've got a little spot over here that I've been needing to touch up. Okay. So let's get in here. And we'll start getting the edge here. I'm never sure how far over the edge I should go. Like, should I take it over the edge and start to do the back? Or should I only take it to like where the straight edge of the side stops? Some people don't bother with the very edge either, and that's fine. Especially if you're planning on framing it, then it doesn't really matter, right? Because that section's gonna get all sorts of covered up here. All right. I probably could have grabbed a different brush for this part, but I figured we've got this one dirty already. Right? Might as well keep going with it. Okay. Oh, sorry. Didn't realize I was off the screen there. Although you're not missing much there. It was just the edge bit. All right, let me rinse this guy because we're going to switch brushes here now. All right, so we're gonna go to our little tiny blue handled guy. So it's gonna take us a little bit of time once again. Because this paint has started to thicken up a bit, number one. And number two, we are on a much smaller brush. But we're also getting into these little intricate bits here. So we need to be a little bit careful of that. Right? Because we don't want to go too crazy. And overstep. Where we don't want to be. All right. I'm sure I'll probably have to add some more paint to my cup here at some point. But for right now, we'll just see how far we get with what I've got portioned out. Okay. This is exciting. Closer we get to being done this guy. Will say I'm having a little bit of trouble seeing where my paintbrush is because it's so thin. I'm like, shoot, where's my paintbrush? That's like the most challenging part of this, is why I'm like gently kind of laying it in here in the section that's already black, as I'm trying to finish filling in around it. Like, I'm okay when I've got it up against a color where we haven't had any black come in, but I am struggling a little bit when it's up against more black. We're getting there. I will say it's mostly with this brush, mostly because of how thin it is. And when that black paint gets on those bristles, it's just kind of fading into the background. And I'm kind of like freaking out here. I'm like, oh no, I can't see it. This brush is doing good, but if I'm not able to see where I've placed it, that's a problem. All right. So we'll get that in there. Overstepped. Okay, so that kind of got a little messy. Right there. All right. Like, I'm not surprised it got a little messy there. All right, it's a little bit easier from this angle, I guess, because I'm a little bit closer. I mean, it's still not super easy. But it's a little bit easier. Okay. Or maybe it's just something about the angle, because this way I've got the colors backgrounding these a little bit better. I swear that's the same dog from yesterday. It sounded like it was on our porch. It wasn't, but it sounded like it. There's two specific dogs that get driven around that have two distinctive barks. In the area. There's a border collie. And there's a German shepherd. That was the German shepherd that just got driven by. And both of them just, they're so excited about being in the car that they bark the entire time the car is in motion. Like the entire time they are in the vehicle. Because the one vehicle with the German Shepherd drove past the park that we were at the one day. And Doggo was just bounding from side to side, window to window, just barking his head off the entire time. Like, that's a happy pupper. Such a happy pupper. Okay. That one wrapped around there. This is gonna take a while. We cannot go very quickly in this section. Like, we just can't. It will not end well if we try to. And you can tell it's cold in here. I have long sleeves on. I think I currently own 1, 2, 3. Hold on. The Blue Cloud, the Tampa, the Lilac. this one. I might own 5 long sleeve shirts. Like regular shirts. I have a couple of cardigans or overshirts that are sweaters, whatever you want to call them. I have a few of those. Let's see, the pink one, the blue one, the black one. I've got 3 of those, and then I've got 2 that are sort of like a t-shirty material that are like super thin. I've got a crocheted one that kind of is like lacy. And then I've got like a real fine knit one that's kind of between a t-shirt material and a sweater. I've got some like over a cardigan shirt thingies that I will layer up with tank tops. But I've really got to be cold to put a long sleeve shirt on. It has to be the right weight. And the right sort of texture nowadays. Or else it's just not happening. And the one long sleeve shirt sometimes pulls at my neck. And then I start itching. Because it starts to upset me. So I can't always wear that shirt. Like it really comes down to what kind of day I am having. Okay. Now we still have to get like up in here before I get too far. I thought there was a fuzz. Sorry. For some reason, I thought I suddenly saw like a fuzzy. On the end of my brush. And that was not something I really wanted to drag through everything. Because then I was going to have to fix everything. So okay. So right now, keep looking at the rest of this and I'm like, oh god, we're never gonna get done. I'm just trying to slowly work through this bottom wing. I'm trying not to think about the section that's under my hand at the moment. I am desperately trying to focus one little bit at a time, because that is how we are going to get through this. I'm just trying to keep up with where I've gotten on the bottom part. Because I just don't want my hand ruining anything, like sitting in wet paint. Without taking too much to the black paint side of things. Because part of me gets wiggle-handed. Although I'm not thrilled with how thick this paint is feeling. I mean, I'm making it work. Okay. We're getting there, though. I mean, I can see how much progress we've made just today. So we're not doing too terribly badly. Still a challenge, but especially at the angle I'm at, because I'm losing sight of my brush again. So I'm definitely hesitant placing it down. I do need to change how I'm sitting, though. Oof. Body's getting achy. Oh, we're almost up to 40. We're sitting at 39 now. The sun is out. They were originally saying it was gonna start to do something at like 4 or 5 a.m. and now they've pushed it back to like 11. So I'm a little of the mindset of, are we not gonna get as much as they were originally thinking? Are we actually gonna get anything? Because they like to pull that card. Oh, big snowstorm, bad snowstorm. And we get a dusting. It's like, okay. Though the update I was reading this morning from the local guy was like, so it looks like the cold air might push further south than we were originally thinking, which is good because it eliminates, or not eliminates, but lowers the potential for freezing rain. And it's much better to deal with sleet and snow in this area than freezing rain. So even our friend who's a little bit further south of us might get more snow than they were thinking. But he might be off. Potentially. During this. Which would be good for him. Because he had an accident in the snow one time and now he's real nervous about driving in this crap. I think he had originally tried calling out and they were like guilting him and giving him a bunch of shit about not coming in. There was an employer that did that to somebody that worked at the, or a supervisor that did that to one of the cashiers at the casino. She was a real nervous driver to begin with, and she really was not wanting to drive in the weather. And they kind of bitched her out about coming in. So she hesitantly was like, well, I'll try. And she got into an accident. And I think she ended up losing vision in one of her eyes because of her injuries. I was like, oh my God. I would be suing the hell out of them. Like, I hope they actually felt bad and never did that again to anybody. But to their credit, the casino would try their damnedest to get people to come in and stay. They would block out large groups of rooms on certain floors in the one tower when there was a bad storm coming, when they thought they wouldn't get many employees traveling in because of the weather, and they would try to put them up overnight or for the duration of the storm. Oh, we'll comp you a room, this, that. We have to share the room with these other people. And I did it once and never again. Because then the buses stopped running. And I couldn't get home. I think I was the only one in our department that they did that to. But it was so loud in that tower. I don't know how anybody was able to sleep. There was doors constantly banging. The wind was horrible. The wind was so bad, the elevator doors were having trouble staying closed because the wind was so strong coming down the shafts. And every time that happened, the elevators would stop moving when the doors slid open. So then it was to the point where they're like, we recommend that you guys not use the elevators and you use the stairs because you're gonna get stuck in the elevators. I was like, this is a effing nightmare. I'm gonna walk home. I'll take my chances walking home. That was awful. I was like, never again. Because then I had to go home. And by the time I did get home, I ended up switching shifts with my dad. And he was going to work my next shift because I hadn't slept. But then when I got home, I had to dig his car out because I knew if I laid down, I wasn't going to dig it out in time. And then that was like another 3 hours of digging the car out because we had gotten that much snow. I was like, this is ridiculous. And like some of the other employees that stayed that were from out of town, because we had people coming in from like Philly and Williamstown and stuff to work that were taking the train or would take the bus and everything. Like they were treating it like it was a fucking party. And I'm just like, some of us are trying to sleep. Because I was working overnight, so I couldn't sleep. I think the one day I came down, I'm like, you guys need any help? I can't sleep. Like, I came down like way early. Alright, getting that kinda all worked into there. So, I mean, we're getting there. Like I said, I don't know if we'll be moving on to pen work today. We probably won't. We'll have to see if I suddenly start moving a lot faster here. But as of right now, I am not so sure. that we're gonna get there because we still have the top of this wing to go too. I will say, if we don't start the pen work today, we definitely will next week. Excuse me. For sure. Now there is talk that there could be some power outages with this storm, but I think that might depend on how much freezing rain actually happens, and I'm not sure if that's more for our area or other parts of the state. Because these one guys on YouTube who I was trying to watch that run a channel for the state's weather, they were being a little confusing and kind of being all over the place, and I'm like, which area are you actually talking about right now? Because right now you're not making any sense to my brain. At least we don't have too much to do to this upper wing. We did get a lot of that done already. Previously, I didn't realize I had gotten that much of it done already. So that's actually a little bit helpful there. I did not realize we were quite that far on it already. Look here, Stream Boo. Is there not? Welcome. How did this account not get fucking yanked already? Did you steal this account? Because this account's been around since 2021. I feel bad if you stole that account and somebody was trying to get it back. But also, fuck you if you made that account strictly to do this. Okay. Careful. All right. Not too shabby. This is the toughest part, is getting these wings on this one. I mean, yeah, we have to go slow around our little background shapes and all, but this is where it's the most tedious, is this particular spot, because there is so many tiny guys in here. So I am still working on the tissue paper project. I'm hoping to be done with these two blue colors. Shit. On Thursday. We'll see what happens with that. But we're gonna try. Which means I really need to get cracking on the next color, because I can blow through the colors of tissue paper that I have twisted a lot faster than it takes me to twist them. So I'm actually going to have to focus. I need to get the Bear and Breakfast that I recorded edited. I don't know if I want to do that tonight, or if I want to work on the speed felt edit tonight. I don't think I have to do any major editing to it. I think I just need to drop in the title card. And the end card. And make sure that I can be heard. So I might do that tonight, just to get that done. Because then I can get a fair amount of paper twisted while I'm doing that. So I'll be able to use both hands. Alright, I'm going to do a quick maintenance rinse on this guy. Okay. So, still need to use the small guy here. This paint, though, feels like it's trying to completely solidify in here. Nope, I can't sit like this. At least it's my legs that are being achy and not my tailbone. The tailbone being pissy is more problematic than anything. Come on. There's a huge, like, glumpy bit. I am trying terribly not to just, like, cannon it on out, because that's gonna be more of a problem than anything. Like, oh bother. I don't even think I got it all. Hold on. Oh my. Okay, well, that's a little better. Once I'm done this project, I'll probably be done with this bottle of paint. That's starting to get more troublesome than it's worth. And now I've got black paint all over me. Good, good. That's fine. Okay. Alright, so I'm gonna kind of turn my little cuppy here on its side so that the stuff that's still fairly liquidy will kind of slide that way. So I don't have too much glumpy action getting all in my brush. And it's just a better time for everybody involved. Okay. I have to be careful because I started getting a little full of myself here. My brush was getting a little wild. Okay. Pretty good. Pretty good. My hand got a little unruly on that last little yellow guy there, but there's not a whole lot I can do about that. Although it could partially be the angle that I'm working on. So let's try to tilt that a little bit. And we'll just see if that improves things a bit here. Okay. All right. It's a totally different feel on this paintbrush. Now that I've got some fresher paint on it, it's gliding a lot easier. I think that's why my brush is getting a little loosey here. That's why we're getting a little wild. Because this part of the paint is a lot more liquidy than what we had been down to there. Like sometimes I'm not sure if it's just me being weird about the paint consistency or if the paint consistency actually did change. Okay. I've got to be super careful here. Just so we can get through this last bit here incident free. Because it's gliding a bit more, but it also feels thick at times. So I don't know if that's just me. Or maybe I just didn't get my brush filled good enough here. Either's possible. Alright, I'm trying not to skip here. Like have white showing through in this tiny, tiny section. It's not as easy as it sounds. All right. Careful. All right. As long as we are careful, we can get through this last bit here. Without incident. Hopefully. Okay. We're getting there. Haven't decided if I want to finish the other little bit on the wing before finishing the middle part there between them, or if I should just do the in-between bit and then do the other. Okay. The way the light is glaring at the moment, it's having a hard time seeing if I had actually covered part of this. That's always frustrating. It's like you need the light to see what you're doing. and for the cameras and stuff to properly pick it up, but then the paint's wet and it's creating a glare. So then you kind of have to use your hand as shade almost to see if you've actually covered a part or not. Mildly frustrating. Or my eyes are just being extra sensitive today, which is very possible. They're very watery today. What was that? Came from outside.
Just checking on you. Heard that. Ah.
She okay?
Yeah, your mom's key fell over.
Alright. She's got us extra paranoid because she kind of fell a couple times and didn't tell us. She's like, but I was fine. It's like, that's not the point. I'd rather you hit the button so we can help you get to your feet and make sure you're fine. Instead of you thinking you're fucking fine. And you not being fine. Because in your impaired mental state, you thought you were fine. We've got this like little call button for her to push. For when she falls. That rings an alarm in our room. Because we can't hear her yell. Between the traffic noise and headphones and stuff, but we can hear the alarm go off. So, plus she always has her TV up so loud. And then if she's outside, we might hear the fall, but if we're in the bathroom or something, no guarantee. At least the alarm keeps ringing until we turn it off. And they weren't even, she wasn't even going to tell me. But Russell mentioned it in front of her. And this is the woman that's like, well, I'll just get an apartment and stay here. No, you're not living on your own. And then how are you going to get to your doctor's appointments and get groceries and shit? Like, that's not going to work, lady. Number one. Number two, you can't afford an apartment here. Not on your own. And I'll never hear the end of it from my brother. I can guarantee you. Okay. I suppose if I do this side first, then hopefully it'll be dry by the time I come back to it. We can hope. Sorry if my head is dipping into the shot. I'm not sure if it is. But if it is, I apologize. Okay. This worked into here. Black is just making these colors pop so well. You have to be careful though that you don't get too carried away with the width of your brush stroke at times though. Sometimes you do need to slow down and either rinse your brush or wipe it, because the buildup in there can become slightly problematic at times. But so far, we're doing pretty good. I mean, there are times where I wonder if I should have gone with a slightly different color scheme. Maybe it should have been just more like blues and greens. But I'm certainly not changing it now. We've come too far now. Alright. A little bit further with the super tiny guy. And then we can swap over to our larger guy again. Well, larger in quotation marks is still a small brush. Not like it's a 2-inch brush. Like, we're not talking like Bob level larger brush here. Okay. I'm just trying to give myself enough of a border here. On the edge of this, so I don't dip into it and mess up anything that we've already done. No matter how much My hand is trying to sabotage me at the moment. Because yes, my hand is trying to sabotage me at the moment. Okay, so the only place where I feel like I need to add a bit more for a buffer, it's kind of in there. Oh, okay. Haha, missed a spot. I'm like, oh, that's the outer edge. We're fine. No. Somehow my brain's like, no, we're good. No, we're not. Brain's like, but we want to be there. No. That's great if you want to be up there, but we still have to finish this edge here. Because I don't trust me to be able to do up close with these pieces with the other brush. Know your limitations and work with them. In an attempt to set yourself up for success. Now, I'm not planning on doing this entire section that's left in this tiny brush, but as much as I want to move on to the other brush at this point, I do know that if I don't do this part with the small guy, I'm gonna regret it. So I would rather, gonna be sirens going by in a minute. I'd rather just get in here with the small guy. Okay. So let me rinse that off as best as I can. Maybe the sirens turned a different direction, because I don't hear them anymore. Okay. So let's start this last section here. Okay. So we are going to get this last bit worked into here. Carefully. Gotta tamp down that excitement because we're not done yet. Gotta pull it into check here. Gotta check ourselves. All right. Careful. This was a section I probably should have used the small brush in. Like, I could still go and grab it. If it comes to it. It's not like we've banished him into exile. I still have him here. Alright. So let's work on getting this bit in here. Did you make something to eat?
Yeah.
Okay. Alright. So we'll go this way and that way. Do have to be careful here because I did get a little carried away around one of the edges of these guys. I was like, woohoo, we're almost done. And let the brush kind of get away from me a little bit. Okay. Again, I have to be careful on that edge there. Paint feels like we're getting a little bit thicker again. Don't know if that's just because it's starting to dry a little bit in the cup, or if it's because little guy grabbed most of the more liquidy bits from it. So we're getting down to the more glompy bits that are remaining. Because some of the glompy did end up in the cup. As long as I don't have bits of it ending up on the canvas, then I'm okay with that. It's just a pain to try to remove those. It's like worse than a hair. Okay. So we'll get this guy popped into here. And then that guy. What time is it? 1:22. Alright, so we might be starting the pen process today. We probably won't be finishing the pen process, but we will probably be starting at least a little bit of it. Or at least I hope we are. I don't foresee this last little bit taking over an hour. At this point. If it does, then we've got a issue with this paint. That we're gonna have to address to some degree. Okay. So I'm just kind of wiping off some of the built up paint on the edge of my cup here. As you do from time to time. Or at least as I do. Alright, so just kind of filling in this rounded part of our edge here. So I don't really want it to get a little too carried away on us here, and I'd rather do this part while I'm looking at it directly instead of when I'm working on the side here and hoping that I don't get too carried away. Okay, we're almost there. Okay. Just a couple of more remaining here. Now, we'll have to make sure that we don't get near any of the wet paint when we pull the pen out. But we can either start work on the other wing or on the tail or something to keep us away from this side. So this side has a chance to proper dry. Alright. The other side of this guy. Ah. Hand wiggled a little too much there. That'll probably be alright. Okay. How do I want to do this? The camera's off. There we go. And this guy. All right. So we're just gonna finish up our edge here carefully. We don't want to get too carried away and accidentally dive too far over that upper edge onto the front of the painting. So we don't want to accidentally clip anything. For that would not do us any favors whatsoever. That would only bring us heartache and oh so much sadness. I might have gotten a couple little glompy bits here on the side. But you know what? If they're going to be anywhere, I would much rather that's where they be. Okay. So let me set that to the side and wipe off the paint on my finger. Okay. We'll rinse out our brush here. Okay. Sure, I get all of that paint out of there as best as I can. Okay, so those two are going to hang out over there. All right, I need scrap piece of paper. Because I have found this pen isn't the greatest, but it's not terrible. Oh, you know what? Shit. That's a bit that I can't really ignore there. Okay. So we're in frame. This is just a white gel pen. I'm gonna try to go super slow because this is a textured surface. Keep that in mind. If you want to do this. It's gonna be a little bumpy. So this is a Uniball Signo broad. I really should have gotten a fine. This pen also tends to write a little bit better in one direction more so than another. And I haven't used this thing since December. So this one really would be much better off as a fine line. Like I have to keep a piece of scrap paper to the side. So that I can keep wiping it off. Essentially. And getting any of the built up off of it. This pen is actually super maddening. To use at times, but I have it. And I don't have another fine point pen that I can use here. Like it was the same level of frustrating when I was doing the other pieces outlines. But I also kind of feel like the other piece wasn't fighting me quite like this. But it is kind of funny because the pen on this canvas just kind of wants to take off and go in its own direction. And a lot of the reviews on this pen were pretty much the same thing that I'm dealing with. Like, not smooth, it's doing this, it's doing that. So because the canvas is textured, right, I have to go slow. To a degree. So that it doesn't just like wobble halfway across the thing and do something that I can't uh, compensate for. Okay. So this, sometimes these pens just work better in one direction more so than the other. I don't know why. So it might take some trial and error to figure out what that direction's going to be for you. I mean, it's working great on the paper. Like, that is juicy on the paper. Sorry, I was just grabbing a tissue here. So I can attempt to clean up any buildup off the tip here. Could also be that my shapes are just that small. And with this being a broad tip, it's just being a little extra fussy. Really? I shouldn't be surprised. I mean, the crab came out pretty good, but the lines were a little bit more flowy. And I toiled over that crap for so long. Like, ridiculously long amount of time. Slowly getting those lines in. Now, this is a gel pen. And I did try a brush-on sealer. It's smeared. So that is not going to be an option for us on this. Come on, pen. I know you are capable. Like, I know you are. Really, really, really don't want to do this with paint, because it will be forever and a day if I have to go the paint route with this. $100%. I've done this with paint before, where I've come back in and outlined everything. And at this point, the only way I think I could outline this right now would be if I watered some white paint down enough to use my finest dotting tool to drag the lines in, or a toothpick. So I'm not real keen on the idea. I mean, if I have to, and this pen gives up, then I have to. But I'd rather not. All the same. because it's not easy to do it that way. It is much more painstaking. Okay, so we've got the tail kind of coming up to the wing junction at the moment. That is why I don't like outlining stuff where I can't see where my hand is going. So I will periodically lift my hand up, even though I probably shouldn't, when I'm in a spot where I can't see where said hand needs to go. Okay. I am pushing down a little bit hard, mostly so I can try to keep the ink flowing on this textured surface. I found that it flows a little bit easier if I push down on it. That one got a little carried away. Might spray the back of this lightly. When I get done, before I go to seal it, Okay, so it is making this guy pop a bit. Again, if you didn't want to do this step, you didn't necessarily have to. This is more or less going to be personal preference. You could use a metallic if you wanted to. Like, I had a gold. We could have tried the gold. I didn't even really think about using the gold here. We probably could have. Though I don't know how the gold would have looked on the yellow. That's the only thing. So you do have to think about how it might or might not work with all of your colors. Like, it would totally work with the purple and our shades of teal here, or turquoise. Like, that would have been fine. All right. Always nerve-wracking for me to do outlining, especially on bumpy canvas. Like, my hand's already wobbly. And then we're doing it on a wobbly surface because of all of the bumpies. Sometimes it just adds to it, and it's fine. All right. Again, nice and slow, so the pen doesn't get away. Or, you know, if you're using a different method, or glass pen, fountain pen, whatever, you know how your pen is going to behave on different surfaces, essentially. Or you could also do paint with this. Like, it is possible to outline this in like a white paint or a white ink. If you plan on sealing this, though, I would test to see how your liner of choice is going to behave with your sealer of choice. before you actually work on the main piece. Like, I'm gonna use Mod Podge on the tissue paper project as a top coat, but I'm not sure if I should also do a spray sealer on top of that once that is good and dry. And it could take like maybe a month or two after that. Just to, you know, be 100% certain that it's dry. But I don't know if it's going to somehow anger the Mod Podge and like reactivate it to do like little white bubbles and stuff. You have a dog. Or do I have to get him?
Not able to walk away.
Really, buddy? We have an hour. You're such a punk ass. Alright. Doggo needs to potty. We will be right back. New be right back card from the husband. We'll be right back, you guys. Alright, sorry about that. And the other dog kinda wanted to pee, but not really. Hmm. Did this explode in this pen? That's weird. I just noticed, like, there's like a... It's like fading inside there. I don't know if it's just from holding it or what. Of course, whenever I stop with this pen, then it gets pissy again. But, husband was in the middle of something that he could not walk away from. Actually, not even sure how much ink is still in this pen. Like, there appears to be some. I'm just not sure how much. I have a second one. I had ordered the single. I'd ordered 2 singles, and they sent me 2 3-packs. And I'm like, what? And they sent me a white, a gold, and a silver. I was like, this is not what I ordered. But the white was in there, so I was like, not sure I really wanted to bother making a fuss over it. I was like, well, maybe I'll like the metallics. I mean, they charged me for the single, so I mean, it's kind of their loss, I guess. For sending me the wrong one. Because I'm pretty sure the 3-pack was more than the single, because it didn't say bonus whatever on the packaging. And I'm pretty sure I had seen the 3-pack on the website, and I think on the reviews after I ended up with it, I think some people are like, yeah, I ordered this and they sent me this. So at that point I was like, okay, well, we can try it, right? All right. So that was just basically my pen kind of getting away from me, and I didn't see where the line was supposed to be at. The wider guy here keeps getting caught. Like, I haven't really had this, like, bleed like a felt tip. Potentially can. So it's not like it's a terrible pen, but it's not a great pen. Like, maybe I'm just coping with it. But it's been a struggle with this guy. But I paid for it. And it's usable. So, gosh darn it. We're gonna use it. You okay?
Mm-hmm.
Did you just get eaten?
No, not yet.
Oh, it sounded like you hit something in frustration.
No, I was just moving to Kurt.
He's playing some kind of dino game where apparently other dinos can walk up and eat you. Alright, so let's see. Let's get this guy. The texture from the canvas is making it seem like my hand is wobbling so much more than it actually is. Like, I'm struggling to keep it from getting too crazy here just from the texture. So let's see. Yeah, we probably won't finish this outline today. But that's okay. Because then we can spend finishing, we spend next week finishing it. That was almost bad. I was trying to reposition the pen and almost dropped it. That would have made me oh so very sad to have come this far on this guy. To have something like that happen. Not gonna lie. That would have been quite a defeated feeling. Alright, so, oh yeah, my head is kind of in the shot. Sorry, guys. My big old head. Always in the way. Okay. So tomorrow, we're going to be starting Bob Ross Magnet number 5. That's exciting. Now, for the 5th tutorial of this season we're currently working through, season 31, he's got it like an oval shape inside. He has like a oval cutout on his out of contact paper on his canvas. We are not going to do that because we are already working oh so small. And I really don't think I can pull that off. So we are just gonna fill our little 3" by 3" work surface with the scene. I think it's a wintry, snowy, icy cabin, which is kind of fitting for tomorrow, since we're supposed to be getting snowy, sleety nonsense happening tomorrow. Now, I wasn't sure if I was going to outline the background. Like, I'm not sure. I had not made a decision on that yet. Husband thinks I should just do the dragonfly itself. But I haven't made up my mind yet. Okay. So we're going to move on to this upper bit here. So next week we'll be finishing this guy. I haven't decided if I have a rhinestone small enough to kind of add in here and there. But if I do, I would have to add that in after we spray it. So that way it doesn't lose its shine. Because I've done that before. Not necessarily with a rhinestone, but I've done that with glitter, where I've put it on and it's like, oh, sparkly, and then I spray seal it, and then the glitter just turns dull. And I'm like, oh, mistakes were made. So I was kind of like, well, I can't take that back now. So that was a little bit frustrating, to say the least. Sorry, I'm just trying to regroup here. Figure out where I wanted to go next. All right. Get my little ridges worked into here. All right, that's not so bad. I mean, I know we've got some black here. On that bottom edge, because I didn't get quite up on it. But I think we're okay. All right. that around in there. And we'll bring this guy round up into here. All right. Like, I just don't know if it's gonna look right if we don't do the background. At this point. Only takes a moment of this pen to stop moving. It seems like before it's trying to clog. Oh yeah, now this pen and I are coming to an understanding. Because of course. Alright, so I didn't like do the little extended piece that came down into the previous color. Honestly, I was kind of like, oh, I'll get that on the way back. Because Pen and I were in the zone. Alright. This was like either supposed to be a heart shape or like a lily pad type shape in the original. Or like maybe like a lotus leaf kind of. Kind of shape. Alright. Get this into here. Like we're almost done this side of the wings. Almost. Oh gosh, this little section down here is gonna be a little bit tougher than I anticipated. My hand frame, yeah, for the most part. And like that guy's not so bad. That guy's okay. But it's some of these smaller guys here. These guys are gonna be tougher. All right. This guy. Like the smaller these things get, the tighter I'm clenching my pen. I actually need to look at the other wing to see if this shape is there. Okay. I suddenly wasn't sure if that one was supposed to be outlined here. Okay. I think when we get done this wing... Oh no, we still have like a half an hour. I thought it was later than it was. Never mind. Although my hand is starting to cramp, so we might stop a little early today. So when we go to finish this guy next week, we can use the remaining time, if we have any, for a planning session. Like, I don't know that we'll have any time left next week extra. It kind of depends, really, on if we end up doing the whole thing or if we only do the dragonfly itself. It might look a little strange if we don't do the whole thing, though. Like, it might look unfinished. I won't be able to really make that decision until rest of it gets done. How are we looking so far? That is definitely popping it up. Hmm. I just don't know. Like, this is gonna be a tough decision. With everything that we still kind of need to do. Like, at the moment, it kind of looks like it's sitting on top. And that's not terrible. All right. Pen got a little extra wobbly there. That's okay though. We're okay with that. The original idea was that we would outline these and that to try to pull the flower in the wings and tie it into this. The original thought process of that. I'm gonna hold off on that just now. All right. Zuzu's like mad it's not dinner time, I think. Or he just wanted to go and do his afternoon patrol outside. But it's a little cold. And we were in the middle of a live stream, so the best I could offer him was a potty in the front yard. And then when we got out there, he's still trying to go out back. I'm like, no, remember? Right now. I told you what we were doing. He also smells dinner for myself and my mom cooking. And I think he thinks it's for him. And it's very much not. Like, very much not. Okay, I think we're gonna pause there because my hand is killing me. I've been scrunched up too much today. So, we will finish outlining the dragonfly next week and then figure out if we're gonna outline the rest of it. No, I feel like it's looking weird without the background done. But we'll see. We'll take a think about it. But this is where we're at so far. It's kind of in frame. Tomorrow, like I said, we will be starting work on our next needle felted magnet. We'll be following along with season 31, episode 5. I don't remember what it's called. I'll figure that out for tomorrow. And then Wednesday, migraine permitting, of course, with everything, we should be working on Planet Zoo and are still cleaning up our staff area in the back of the bear section, so that way the staff isn't all pissy about the way it looks and they're happy for when we bring them in. So I hope everybody has a good night. Get your supplies if you're in an area that's supposed to get snow, so you don't have to go out and be on unsafe roads. Stay warm. And until, oh, don't forget to follow social links down below or above, whichever you're watching this on. And until next time, you guys, have a good one.